What's going on, Spurs fans?
Hey everybody, what's going on?
I am Spurs Nation 87.
And I'm Joe Garcia of the Spurs Fan Cave. We're in the cave right now.
So as you know, the Spurs had a game today against the Charlotte Hornets, but this team was not to be slept on because from the last two games, the Charlotte Hornets have blown out or practically beaten the Bulls and the Mavs and have practically buried them in the dust. But the Spurs did not sleep on this team because they know how good of a team they are. So they did beat them tonight, and the final score was 114-94. What a hell of a game it was! But before we get to the game, and before we get to the stats, I got shoutouts to make out for all of the crazy Spurs fans all over the world on Facebook. Starting off with my number one fan, the Spurs Fairy, Bella Rodriguez. I love you, baby. And also a big shout out to our Spurs fan cave bros, Martin and Dominguez,
Leonard Johnson.
the Spurs man Leonard Johnson, Old School McGee, the Spurs phenom Robert Munoz,
Yep, Spurs Phenom, my brother. Ed Luna, we can't forget my brother.
and
Ed Luna.
the photography man himself, Ed Luna, also known as Ed Licious.
Yeah, big shout out to Tom Tom. Love what you do. And also to Thomas Vega, our other Spurs brother.
All the way
over
from
in
Corpus Christi.
Yeah. And we can't forget our extended Spurs Fan Cave brother, all the way from Japan, Taro the Spurs Katani. Looking forward to seeing you, bro, in a couple weeks. And also Jurgen Aspers and Antonio Spurs Monaco. And Jay Kite, we love you, man. We like everything you do. We like your game, your game rebuttal. You know, all the play-by-play action you bring every night. Much appreciated. And also we want to give a shout out to the girls as well. Jacqueline Hasso, Mari Gonzalez, Andrea Morales, and Blanca Gonzalez. So we want to go ahead and just give you guys a shout out. Appreciate you, girls.
Yes, and also on Facebook, I have Esteban Estrada, Missy Rodriguez, Anthony Solis, Karen, I can't pronounce the name, Karen Tampong. I think that's how you spell the last name. If that's the way it's pronounced, okay. But if I pronounce it wrong, I apologize. Also, we've got Mario Mendoza, Franz Salvador, Cynthia Robinson, and this is an interesting name, Jupiter Harvey.
Cool.
That's a very interesting, yeah,
That's a unique name. I like that.
Yeah, that's a very unique name. It's a very unique name. Never heard of a name like that. That's cool. I like that. And again, a shout out to Dave Kite. And let me see what else. Susan Fuentes, Betty Galvan, Rina Galopi, Adriana Elizabeth. Let me see what the last name is. Adriana Elizabeth. It's hard to pronounce the last name. It's Aroki. Aroki.
Yep.
And let me see. We've got Julian O'Gean. Big shout out to Julian. And Jose Ramirez. And he's in a picture with the Stoop Doggy Dog. And also a big shout out to the biggest Danny Green fan in the world, Israel Camacho. Big shout out to you, brother.
A big shout out to Eric Clay and Eric Bird. Eric Bird's the dancing usher, man. I love you, man.
And also I got a shout out. Shout outs for Sin C. Let me see. Luisa Mendez, Anthony Cervantes, Laura Gonzalez, Valerie Garcia, Elsa Hijo, it's hard to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Elsa Elqueseva. I think that's how you spell it.
Yeah.
If I pronounced it right, okay, then good. If I didn't pronounce it right, then I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me see. Reyes, AJ Rodriguez, Isabel Rizzo, Marta R. Umanzor, and the Spurs man himself, Leonard Johnson, Art Vasquez II, and Adriana Huerta.
I want to give a big shout out to Chris Duell from the Ticket 760. We just came out on his radio show. Big shout out to you, man. We appreciate you letting us come out on the show.
Yes, sir, man. I love calling to that show. I mean, it's always good calling to that show and having a laugh or two with him.
Yeah.
Especially talking about the Spurs and all, especially with Jeff Sheen too. Jeff
Sheen too, man.
A
big shout out to you, Jeff Sheen. Oh, and Hector Ledesma, man. I really appreciate you. He gives us a lot of props over on Twitter, man. Appreciate you, Hector Ledesma.
Alrighty. So now the stats for the game. We had 5 Spurs in double figures. Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, was one of them.
You know, I heard that he don't like that name. You know what he said? He said, do you like your nickname, the Claw? He says, I'm not a lobster. True story, man. He said that, dude.
Yeah, I heard about that. I saw that on the Spurs site. Yeah, he doesn't like to be calling me, but hey, I mean, he's called that because of his big old ginormous hands.
You got some big mitts, man. You got some big mitts.
Beautiful, man. But I know that's not as big as the Siberian giant, the Boban Marjanovic. Beautiful, man. As for his hands are so big, he probably grapple all of Kawhi Leonard's head.
I think he can hold like 4 balls in his hand, man.
No kidding.
Hey, you know what I just saw right now? In-game update. You know, Sacramento and Golden State, undefeated Golden State Warriors are in a heated battle right now in the 4th quarter. Golden State's up 74 and Sacramento has 70. Might be smelling the makings of an upset.
Ooh, that'll be one of the biggest upsets this season.
Oh, yeah, man.
Equal, man. All right, guys. Well, the stats of the night. 5 Spurs players in double figures. One of them was Kawhi Leonard, who's our main Spurs leader for this season, who's averaging nearly practically 22 points per game. He had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And then we've got LaMarcus Aldridge, our newest Spur, with 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. And then also we have Tim Duncan with 11 points. Let me see, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Let me see who else.
And 3 turnovers.
Yeah, 3 turnovers. And then we've got our main 2 guys who sparked the bench up in the 3rd quarter.
It was raining threes, man.
Vehicle, man. I swear they were getting the crowd on their feet. You've got Manu Ginobili with 15 points, 2 rebounds. Wait, am I reading that? Yeah, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. So he had a pretty good night. And Patty Mills. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. That was Patty Mills' stats. Not Manu Ginobili's. I'm sorry. Ginobili was the one who had 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. The one with the 15 points, the 2 rebounds, and 4 assists, and the 2 steals was Patty Mills. I'm sorry about that.
Can't forget about Bobo, man, the big croissant. He did pretty good, too. I mean, he was out there doing his thing in crunch time, you know?
Yeah.
He does the little things that people don't notice, but he's out there, you know, setting the picks and boxing people out and doing some great passing, you know? Good job, Bobo.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have much of a game, but, you know, like I said, he was very effective coming off the bench. You know, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 block shot. But, you know, like I said, the littlest of what he does, you know, is what matters to the team. You know, whether if it's his defense or the pick and rolls he does, you know, that's what matters. So, you know, when you've got help like that, you know, it helps out your team a lot.
And we can't forget about the Serbian nightmare, Boban Marjanovic. The Spurs crowd loves Boban. When we were out there last time, he came out on the floor, the crowd goes wild.
And I know the moment when he has the ball, yeah, you just hear the fans like just chanting like,
dunk it, Boban, dunk it.
Yeah, like dunk it, score and shoot it. And then the moment when he makes his shot, the crowd just completely goes freaking absolutely nuts. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard any of that kind of standing motive
Enthusiasm, man.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for a dude of his size who's like 7'3", 7'4".
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I swear that dude is so freaking tall. He can grab apples off an apple tree.
I call Boban. Boban's nickname is the Spurs Frankenstein. I'm glad he plays on my team. He's just so big out there, man. It's like he's just monstrous, you know?
Yeah, I know. I don't think I've ever seen a dude who's that freakishly tall other than Yao Ming.
Yeah. But I think he's a little better. He's got a little bit more athletic ability, I think. You know, we just haven't seen him to live up to the full potential yet. But I think Boban's got some game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're taking it game by game. So, you know, when they do that, you know, eventually he'll get better. He'll improve on his footwork and everything. But I think if they do use him in the playoffs, I mean, he will make some noise. You know, depending if Pop does decide to play him.
Well, you know what? We're about 6 games into the regular season already. And I have to tell you guys, I'm not a Spurs hater, but the one thing that I just have not liked whatsoever is the play of LaMarcus Aldridge. Up until this point, 6 games into the season, it's just been disappointing. You know, I understand that he has to be, you know, we got to give him some time to get acclimated and get into the Spurs system. But as far as a defender goes, I was just seeing some little guys just breaking him down and taking him to the hole, man. It's like he was just standing there. He's like a tree, and people were just going around him. I was like, wow, you know. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing out there. But, you know, I give him time to get acclimated, you know, and probably like 20, 30 games into the season, he'll be a different player. But as right now, at this point in time, 6 games into the season, you can see that he's having some growing pains. And I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's one of the newest players on this team. You know, especially with David West as well. Speaking of David West, he had a pretty good game tonight. I mean, he had 9 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean,
yeah, check this out. The plus minus comparing the Marcus Aldridge, he was -1. David West, he was plus 14 on the night when he was out on the floor. All that means, the plus minus, is meaning that the difference that player has on the overall performance of the team while they're on the court. LaMarcus Aldridge, -1, that means he wasn't very effective. David West, plus 14, that means he was very efficient on the offensive and defensive end, contributing to the team's overall performance on the court. So he had an outstanding game.
Yeah, and what really was disappointing is that, you know, I really expected more of Aldridge, but, you know, it's like, just like what you say, which is true, it's the growing pains. You know, in time, you know, once LaMarcus Aldridge, you know, adjusts more, when he gets adjusted to the Spurs system and he finds his sweet spot, I mean, he'll get better. I mean, he'll put up like almost 25 points or more per game, in my opinion, that he will. You know, but it's gonna take time for him to, you know, to adjust and all that. You know, you know, it's like what I've told Spurs fans before from, you know, my last video with Thomas Vega. You know, just enjoy the game. Just enjoy that Spurs season's back. But, you know, like I said, you know, with all the new players we have, it's gonna take time for them to adjust. So, you know, and there was a fan that I saw on Facebook who I'm not gonna call out, because I do not put no one on blast, because I'm not about putting, you know,
we don't put your business out there.
Yeah. We actually heard from a Spurs fan saying, like, the way they're playing right now, we shouldn't be talking about them being in the NBA Finals. Now that I can't really agree on, because I just talked about, this team is going through growing pains with all the new players they have. You know, they have to adjust to the system, you know, because they're pretty much used to the system that they were with the teams that they were with before, you know, Pop and Buford had signed. You know, so like I said, once they get deeper and deeper and deeper into the season, they're gonna get better. They're gonna make, you know, noise, a little bit more noise than what they're making now. So, you know, like I say, it just takes time. So give it time, and they will start making noise, and they
They'll
will.
gel later on.
Yeah,
Just
they'll
gotta give it
become,
some time.
and they will become a championship contender later on in the season.
LaMarcus Aldridge needs to get that Portland Kool-Aid out of his system, man.
Yeah, he
He
sure
needs
does.
to get infused with some of that Spurs tenacity, that defensive mindset. And I think it'll happen. It's just going to take at least, I thought 10 to 15 games, but after seeing him, it might take a little bit more, about 20 games and 25 games into the season. So we'll start seeing a lot more out of him and a lot more team chemistry as far as the second part of the season. That means going into the rodeo road trip, after the rodeo road trip, we'll start seeing the real Spurs team come to life. But one thing that we did see the return of tonight from that second unit especially was the return of the beautiful game. All that beautiful passing leading into raining threes, easy buckets. And it always happens with the second unit. I don't know why. The first unit isn't so crisp with the passing, but that second unit with Bobo and Manu, David West, Patty Mills, I mean, they got some really good chemistry, and it shows out there on the floor with all that passing, and then just, raining threes. Danny Green, it looks like he kind of found his range again at that third quarter. He was laying up some bricks, but he just kept on firing away, and that's good because that's what you got to do as a shooter. And look, it paid off for him. He started getting into a little rhythm. Real proud of you, Danny Green.
Yeah, a good job, Danny Green. But in that first half, I mean, the Spurs didn't look like the Spurs that they were. I mean, they were just
a little sluggish.
Yeah, they were a little sluggish. They looked like they were a little lost out there. I mean, just a little bit of miscommunications too. But when it came to that second half, just like you said, in that third quarter, man, when Mills and Ginobili were on the floor, they lit it up.
Hey, man, check that out. Update on the game between Golden State and Sacramento. 6:24 in the fourth quarter. It's a one-point game. 78-79. Sacramento's leading. I told you, smell upset.
Oh my God! I don't understand how in God's name is Sacramento beating Golden State.
Yeah.
It doesn't make no sense at all. The Golden State Warriors should be The Golden State Warriors should be blowing out the Kings. There is no excuse for the Warriors to be only trailing by one. They should be blowing them out by like at least 20 points at most because, oh my God, that is just freaking sad. That is pathetic.
It sure is.
Hijo, man.
You want to talk about pathetic? Look at this going on right here. The Bulls, that were really a hot team right now, they got beaten OT by the Minnesota Timberwolves, 102-93. Man, that's a little bit of an upset right there. But you know what? Minnesota's been playing good right now. They got off to a good start, and the Brooklyn Nets remain winless. Oh well.
That's really sad.
Yeah, but the Spurs, and I can get back to the Spurs. The Spurs, they're gonna put it on the teams, and they're gonna come back out, and we're gonna see that championship caliber play out of them. And I'd say in the second half of the season, first half of the season, they're gonna have to figure things out, and it's gonna be a little bit hard to do as Spurs fans to watch because some nights are just not gonna have that magic. But we just gotta know that we're in it for the long haul, just like the team is. So let's just be patient and, just root for the team and support the guys. That's all you can do.
Yeah, and with that, and also with the beautiful game they played tonight, they dished out a team best 35 assists. And you know what? They actually had a better game tonight than they did last game against the Wizards, which was horrible.
Turnovers.
Yeah, turnovers was what killed them really, really,
sloppy
really bad.
Ball handling, man. They were just passing that ball to like anyone.
Yeah, I know. It's like if the Wizards were playing for the Spurs. It's like when they look at the Wizards, they're looking at them as if they were playing on the team.
Yeah,
that's pretty sad. 20 turnovers from the game compared to the 12, turnovers. And that's good. As long as they keep their turnovers to a minimum, they will win games. But if you have a team that you're like the Spurs playing against, whoever they're playing against, this Spurs team has got to do a better job at scoring off of turnovers, because and especially if they're the easiest shots. I mean, if they're layups, the easiest, simplest shots, you gotta execute on turnovers. There are some teams that will make you turn over the ball and are pretty damn good when making points off turnovers. OKC was one of them. The Wizards, shit, they were definitely one. They proved it the other night. Like I said, the Spurs, it was a devastating loss by that freaking three that was made.
Yeah.
But like
Beat them in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, but those two losses were not really that bad losses. The Spurs could have easily been blown out. That from those two losses, I mean, the first game they lost was against OKC, which is by 6, which is absolutely nothing. And then they lose against the Wizards by a 3-pointer, which is maybe 3 points they lost by, which is another big loss either. So the losses weren't that bad. But like I said, what killed them the most was, the turnovers is what killed them. So they still need work on communicating well with each other, and especially keeping those turnovers at a minimum. Because like I've said plenty of times, the simplest of turnovers can turn a game around, and they'll kill you in a game. All right, well, anything else you'd like to talk about this game? What interested you, or what you liked about it?
No, I just like the play in the third quarter. They kept it pretty close, but in the third quarter, the Spurs finally distanced themselves from the Hornets. By just playing good Spurs basketball. Smart basketball, looking for the open man, letting the game come to you. Don't try to force the issue. And as long as they keep on doing that, especially that second unit, I think the second unit is going to be our bread and butter. It's going to be one of the huge keys to success this year. As far as managing minutes for the starters, that second unit is going to be able to keep the Spurs in the game, and we just saw that happen tonight. So look for great things out of that second unit.
Yeah, the second unit did a damn good job tonight. I mean, but them being on the floor, man, they made a big, big difference in tonight's game.
Yeah.
And had it not been for them, the Spurs probably, in my opinion, probably would have lost. But they still managed to keep themselves in the game. They turned it the hell up in that third quarter, and pretty much they just took off from there and led all the way until that clock hit 0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So good job to our Spurs, and they improved to 4-2.
So they could have easily been, 6-0, but we just won't talk about those other losses. But it is what it is. But I'm very proud of the Spurs and the record that they have, given that all the new players that they have on the team so far. So it looks like they're gonna start coming together. We still got to be patient, like we said, and give them some time, but it'll happen.
Yeah, it just takes patience. Like I said, you can't teach. Well, what would you call the saying about this? No, because with the faces we have. On this Spurs team, what saying would be for this team?
Yeah, they just got to be patient. They just got to learn to be patient and let the game come to you. One of the biggest issues that I see out of Marcus Aldridge, he's overthinking himself out of the game. He thinks too much, and
yeah, he does.
He gets disappointed because he doesn't hit 2 or 3 shots. They don't fall here or there. Usually when they were falling before, and it kind of just gets him out of sync, and he's just out of rhythm, and it affects his play. Just don't overthink things. Just let the game come to you and see what the defense gives you. That's the way you play basketball. It's kind of like a chess match. It's not checkers.
Yeah, exactly. And if Pop's having him shoot the ball, I mean, at least you took the shot. But like I said, there's no need to feel so down on yourself. There's still plenty of time, for you to to adjust on your game, to be better in your game.
Yeah.
There's no need to just, you miss a shot, damn it, and good Anderson. No, that's not the way players think. You miss a shot. Hey, that should give you like motivation you know what? I'm gonna make the next shot, and I'm gonna make the next shot. You know, have that kind of mentality. You miss your first shot. Hey, don't make the next one. Just keep on shooting until you make a shot. There's no need to get disappointed in yourself. All it takes is just hard work and dedication, and believe me, you'll score a lot more when you practice and you get better with your shot.
Yep, sure enough.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank y'all for tuning in, and I appreciate all of y'all's support. And thank you for liking on the statuses for shoutouts. You know, we really appreciate and love you guys. You are the most craziest fans in the world.
Guys.
We love you. You're the best ever. And without y'all, there wouldn't even be there would not be the Spurs would not be who they are because of you guys. All right, guys. Well, I will talk to you soon, and I want to thank a Spurs fan brother joining me on the show.
Oh, anytime, man.
Thanks so
Anytime,
much,
brother. All right, guys. Until next time.
Go Spurs, go!